Democracy,
welcome to Nigeria. Democracy, welcome to Nigeria. We are happy, we are happy. Democracy, welcome to Nigeria.
Democracy.
Good day to you, independent people across the globe. I've come here again to address a particular topic from our dailies, especially an area where the President of the Republic of Nigeria, President Bale Tinubu, where he addressed us, Nigerians. Pardon me for speaking English today. It's because today is a special day in commemoration of our Democracy Day. And I think this should address every nooks and crannies of Nigeria, regardless of the creed, class, or ethnic group you belong to. My people are me once again. The topic I want to address is that area where our president spoke and addressed Nigeria, and especially that area where he said terror financiers will pay dearly. The direct warning to bandits, kidnappers, and sponsors of terror during the Democracy Day address is a standard high-stake political movement. But from an analytical standpoint, it is on deeper structural and intentional tensions. It's obvious Nigeria really suffers from lack of intelligence. Regarding financial tracking, the bottleneck is almost always judicial and political will. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit and the banks track suspicious transactions constantly. Fellow Nigerians, the president says terror financiers will pay dearly. But we already have lists, both historical and current ones, of suspected terrorists and their financiers generated by different intelligence agencies, both international and local. I can remember vividly that there was a time the United Arab Emirates made mention and released a particular list of people suspected to be sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. In 2020, a federal appeal court in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, convicted 6 Nigerians for setting up a Boko Haram funding cell that transferred around $782,000 from Dubai to Nigeria. The UAE cabinet then placed those individuals on its official global terrorism sanction list. I remember some names were mentioned and sanctioned. One particular, Surajo Abubakar Mohammed and Saleh Yusuf Adamu, both sentenced to life imprisonment for different offences. Also, Ibrahim Ali Hassan, Abdurrahman Ado Musa, Ali Yusuf Bashir, and Mohammed Ibrahim Musa, they were all sentenced to 10 years imprisonment then. This network of so-called terrorists use traditional informal cash transfer, really change operating in Nigeria and Middle East for their operations. They use local couriers and structured deposits to keep money invisible to standard international electronic banking systems. And here too, in the year 2024, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, alongside the Attorney General of the Federation and the Nigerian Sanctions Committee, they published an updated list of designated individuals and entities actively financing terrorism then. Unlike other Boko Haram lists, this tracking focuses heavily on actors funding the Northwest banditry crisis and some kidnapping loops. We can recollect, a man was once mentioned, Tukul Mamun, who was said to be a publisher and former media consultant to Kaduna-based Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmad Gumi. You heard that? Sheikh Ahmad Gumi. Mabu was arrested by international intelligence in Egypt and extracted back to Nigeria then. Financial intelligence accused him of receiving and moving millions of dollars in ransom payments for the victims of the 2022 Abuja Kaduna rail attack then, effectively acting as intermediary financial conduit for terrorist group in the bush. The domestic intelligence architecture also blacklisted several specific financial houses and their operators, accused of processing currency for leaders. Some companies were mentioned then: Sabah Double Multi Services Limited, Witu and Bandabu Global, something blah blah blah, and also one Ibn Ahmed Multi Global Investment. But in between 2024 and 2026, few things have changed. Academic and intelligence assessment of the political economy of Nigerian terror note a massive shift in how financial is defined. Historically, a financier was a wealthy elite or external donor transferring lump sum. Today, financing has decentralized into a predatory taxation and extraction system. One of the new methods they employ is forcing community levies. In states like Zamfara, Kaduna, Katsina, terror leaders act as their own localized financiers by serving demand letters to communities, forcing them to pay monthly security fee, a family taxes ranging from 10 million to 50 million to avoid attacks. Imagine. Also, local informants, logistics providers who supply fuel, food, motorcycles, and cash handling intermediaries form an informal supply chain. Ransoms paid by families are quickly laundered through rural livestock trade or informal mobile money agents, POS, to purchase weapons, turning local criminal acts into self-sustaining terror finance operations. Now let's ask ourselves, is the barrier to stopping terror finance a lack of tracking capability? Or is it the political and judicial gridlock required to prosecute high-profile individuals without triggering systemic instability? I don't understand. Should we now focus on the autonomy of the judiciary or the reality of, some set of sacred cows in Nigerian politics where unmasking certain financiers carry every political risk? To who? And again, under this administration's expanded doctrine, all armed non-state actors, including bandits, kidnappers, and their ransom negotiators, are formally designated as terrorists. This shifts the legal and financial playing field. Okay, by lumping bandits, kidnappers, and ransom negotiators into the exact same legal tier as ideological terrorists like Boko Haram, Iswa, Lakurawa, whatever name they call themselves, does the administration strengthen its hand or does it complicate enforcement? This help freeze assets quicker via the anti-money laundering framework, or does it drive the ransom economy entirely underground into cash and cryptocurrency, making it harder to trace? Let us pass the difference fighting ideological terror funding, which often comes from external networks or illicit trades, versus the transactional criminal funding. Kidnap for ransom, which relies heavily on local cash logistics. The same address of the president today, he made mention that over 124,000 fighters and dependents have laid down their arms through Operation Safe Corridor, while simultaneously warning sponsors that the window of surrender will not remain open forever. You get? How do we reconcile the administration's aggressive rhetoric against sponsors with the ongoing amnesty and rehabilitation pipelines for the foot soldiers? Now, if the state shows a part of reintegration for fighters but promise no mercy to the financiers, how does that disruption alter the hierarchy of those criminal networks? Will it annihilate the leadership while starving the operational base? Let's head towards the 2026 budget of consolidation. The administration tied its counter-terrorism doctrine heavily on economic stabilization. Let us ask ourselves directly, can Nigeria actually afford the financial oversight and state policing architecture to back up this threat? Or is the economy too formal for asset freezing to be effective? A lot of questions to be answered here. Well, I'm just trying to give my perspective of the president's address today, June 12, our so-called Democracy Day in Nigeria. Well, true democracy will one day truly be ours. Happy Democracy Day, Nigerians.